Hi, so today's topic is syncope. Whenever we hear any medical or a dental term, the three questions that should come in our mind is what, when, and how. So, what is syncope? Syncope is a transient loss of consciousness. Transient, that means short, for short duration. When a person faints or loses his or her consciousness, gains it back in a few minutes or seconds. When does the syncope happen? Whenever there is decreased cerebral blood flow due to many conditions like vasodilation that leads to peripheral pooling, which can lead to cerebral blood flow decrease, that can be a major and is a major cause of syncope. If how can we treat it, or what is the condition or the immediate approach to the patient with syncope? That is the Trendelenburg position. Trendelenburg position is when we lay the patient on a flat surface with leg side up. That leg side up and head side down is known as Trendelenburg position. And when we lay the patient or the person, the leg side is up, that means there should be an angle between the leg and the body, and that is around 15 to 20 degrees. This is generally what any layman person should also know as what is syncope. So when it comes to theoretical part or exam related topics and questions, then what is the definition of syncope? So the definition of syncope can be determined by these two questions, that is what and when. So, definition is syncope is a transient loss of consciousness due to decreased cerebral blood flow. This is the definition of syncope. So, after we know the definition and a brief knowledge about syncope, then comes a situation that is pre-syncope. Pre-syncope is basically a symptoms that is shown prior to syncope in most of the conditions. So pre-syncope is divided as an early symptoms and late symptoms. So if you see this pictorial representation, then you see a person who is very frightened and is perspiring a lot with nauseating feeling, like when a person comes in contact with a danger situation. So basically early symptoms are related to that. That is warmth. The full body feels warmth. Then pale, body gets pale, the color of the body gets pale, heavy perspiration, bad feeling, nausea and tachycardia. So these are the symptoms that you see are the early symptoms of pre-syncope. So just remember, a person who is very frightened, feels nauseated, has come in contact with a dangerous situation, what all feeling you will get, all that. And when it comes to late symptoms, it is a person who is in a shocked situation. Okay, that is basically the pictorial that should come in your mind. But how should you remember the late symptoms? That's basically in a very synchronized way. As the body goes, first we have the eyes. So there is pupillary dilation and visual disturbance. When you come to the mouth, we see yawning. A little below heart, we see bradycardia. Then comes the pressure, we see hypotension. And when it comes to the limb, we see cold hand and feet. And finally, of course, loss of consciousness. So, pre-syncope symptoms are quite clear and easy to remember, as the early symptoms are warmth, pale, heavy perspiration, bad feeling, nausea and tachycardia. The late symptom is basically up to down, from the eyes up till the limb. That is pupillary dilation and visual disturbances. Then comes yawning, bradycardia, hypotension, cold hand and feet, and loss of consciousness. So now we're going to talk about the etiological classification of syncope. So etiologically, syncope can be divided as neurally mediated, orthostatic or cardiac. Among neurally mediated, it is two types, vasovagal syncope and situational syncope. Vasovagal syncope is basically whenever the body experiences any mental or emotional disturbance that leads to vasovagal syncope. Situations like anxiety, fear, or emotions. These are the causes of vasovagal syncope. Then comes situational syncope. So, situational syncopes are the syncopes that can happen at that specific situation only. Like gastrointestinal, sometimes it happens that while swallowing, there's a syncope, and that is also known as swallow syncope. So, situations like gastrointestinal leads to swallow syncope, pulmonary like cough syncope and sneeze syncope. It's very uncommon or rare, but it is one of the classifications. Then urogenital, micturition syncope or prosthetic massage syncope. Among situations, there is one carotid sinus syncope, which is very common. As whenever you see a gentleman going to a meeting or any conference with all suited up with tie and the bow, then there might come a situation when that person faints suddenly. It might be due to the sensitivity of the carotid pulse in the neck, maybe due to the tie or due to the collar. So that sensitivity causes syncope, and that is known as carotid sinus syncope. And now the second one is orthostatic syncope. So orthostatic syncope again is due to three causes, either due to autonomic failure, volume depletion, or drug induced. So basically it is the second most common type of syncope that we see. The first was vasovagal and the second is orthostatic. So like we said that whenever there is an anxiety, fear, or any situational kind of a situation, that leads to vasovagal syncope. And when you see a person lying down or in a sitting position and they get up suddenly and they might faint or feel the situation of a syncope, that is always orthostatic syncope. So postural hypotension, that leads to orthostatic syncope. So one of the causes is autonomic failure, in which it's divided as primary and secondary. Primary is due to, the mnemonic is MPL, the gaming app if you know, multiple system atrophy, also known as Shy-Drager syndrome, Parkinsonism, and Lewy body disease. The secondary autonomic failure of orthostatic syncope is HD, high dimension. H is two times. First, hereditary amyloidosis, HIV neuropathy, and diabetes. So this is all about autonomic failure. Whenever there is a volume depletion, like due to peripheral pooling of the blood or due to hypovolemia, that might lead to a syncope, that is volume depletion, orthostatic syncope. And some drug induced like vasodilators that causes the peripheral pooling, or calcium channel blockers might lead to orthostatic syncope. So these are the etiology, and this is the classification of orthostatic syncope. The third and the last one is the cardiac. Cardiac can be due to arrhythmia or cardiac structural disease. Arrhythmia like SA node dysfunction, AV node dysfunction, or ventricular tachycardia. So cardiac syncope is basically all the causes leads to one thing, that is insufficient supply of the blood to the brain due to insufficient pumping or stimulus. So under arrhythmia it's SA node dysfunction, AV node dysfunction, and ventricular tachycardia. Under structural cardiac diseases, it's TIA, that is So cardiac structural disease can be due to TIA, like the ischemic heart disease, valvular disease, or cardiac myopathy. Now the section comes differential diagnosis. So generally there is this which is very helpful in differential diagnosis. I hope you can see. I will attach it in the link below. And differential diagnosis of syncope, the most common mnemonic which everyone knows is pass out. So if there is a syncope, the chances are that it can be pressure, arrhythmia, seizure, sugar like hypo or hyperglycemia, output, like the cardiac output or the pulmonary output is decreased, unusual causes, and transient ischemic attacks, TIA. So whenever we talk about pressure, I hope you can see it. Wait. Yeah. So whenever we talk about pressure, the first is vasovagal. Like we said, whenever there is hypotension due to anxiety or emotion, that leads to syncope. Orthostatic syncope, whenever there is volume is less due to some medications or some situations, there is orthostatic hypotension that leads to syncope. That comes under pressure. Then arrhythmia. Arrhythmia can be due to bradycardia, tachycardia, or pacemaker malfunction. Whatever causes leads to arrhythmia, that is also one of the differential diagnosis of syncope. The third is seizure. Seizure is actually very common. Mostly people confuse between seizure and syncope as the symptoms are pretty much similar, which we will talk about it later. But yeah, seizure. The second S is sugar. Sugar, as in either hyper or hypoglycemia, might lead to syncope. Then comes the output. If the cardiac output is decreased due to aortic stenosis or myxoma, dissection, myocardial infarction, many conditions that might lead to decreased output of heart, and the way I said, that leads to decreased blood perfusion to the brain, and that leads to syncope. Similarly, whenever there is a pulmonary decreased output, that is like pulmonary embolism, even that causes decreased blood flow to the lungs and then to the heart and then to the brain, which leads to syncope. So these are decreased pulmonary output conditions like pulmonary embolism, COPD, carbon monoxide poisoning. So these are the causes of decreased cardiac and pulmonary output, and that is also one of the diagnosis of syncope. Now comes the unusual causes. Under the unusual causes, these doesn't come under any specific disorder, but there are some like anxiety, pain, hyperventilation, and depressive disorders which might lead to syncope, and some psychiatric disorders also. Then transient ischemic attack and strokes. So of course these are attacks that causes syncope. People might faint, like whenever person is having a chest pain, it can be either angina or it can be cardiac arrest. So cardiac arrest, basically people get unconscious and the chest is paining. So whenever they get unconscious and the chest pain, like see, if someone is having a chest pain for a very short duration and then that person faints suddenly, so what will you think? It might be a cardiac arrest or it can be just a syncope, right? So that way it can be a differential diagnosis of syncope. And then there are some situation condition like micturition, postprandial cough, we talked about in the classification. Then like I said, that there is one common thing. People get confused between seizure and syncope because both has 99% similar situations. So there's one differentiation kind of a situation here. So it can be asked theoretically also. So just remember JP, the JP publication, that company. JP is TRAP, and that's very odd. So I hope JP doesn't sue me for this, but JP, TRAP, and odd. So for JP, the J is jerk. In syncope, in both we see jerk, but in syncope it's rare, and while in seizure it's very frequent. JP, P is prodrome. Prodrome is in syncope it's dizziness, and in seizure it's the aura. Tongue biting, it's very the TRAP. T is tongue biting. It's very rare in syncope, and in seizure it's quite frequent. TNC, that is tonic-clonic seizure. Syncope we don't see tonic-clonic seizure, while in seizure we see tonic-clonic. The return from that situation, it's a very rapid return. Whenever you see a patient undergoing syncope, they return very rapidly as compared to seizure. So it's rapid and it's prolonged in seizure. Appearance, the person might seem pale, while in seizure you see cyanosis. Post-ictal stage. What is post-ictal stage is basically after recovering from seizure or syncope, what is the situation like headache, confusion, those comes under post-ictal stage. So it's not, it is not present. It is not present in syncope while it is present in seizure. Seizure shows post-ictal situation, but prodrome, there's no confusion. Whenever a person comes out of syncope, he doesn't have very much confusion or headache or any situation like that. Then comes the onset. Onset is very gradual of syncope. Seizure has a sudden onset. Duration is in seconds, like I said, and in minutes, seizures. And deviation, eye deviation. So, in syncope, the eye deviation is vertical, while in seizure, the eye deviation is horizontal. Now this is the last topic, the treatment. It is not much of the concern if we talk about theoretically, but just a piece of knowledge, nothing much. But if there is a the most common vasovagal, orthostatic and arrhythmia. When generally a person in front of you is fainting, and you should have three most obvious diagnosis is vasovagal, orthostatic, or it might be an arrhythmia. So if there's a vasovagal syncope, and whenever we measure, the prognosis is whenever we measure BP, the SBP drops down by 50 mmHg. There is prodrome like dizziness and all that is present while the patient is undergoing vasovagal syncope, and it is situational. Like if person suddenly gets that emotion or anxiety or fear or any situation that triggers it, then only you will see the syncope. So that is the prognosis of vasovagal syncope. And the diagnosis is tilt table test. There's a tilt table test where we lie the patient, we tilt it, then we take the BP, then again we tilt it, and then we take it almost 360 degree, and then we take the BP every time at different angle, and then we measure it, and by that we see if there's a fluctuation in the BP, then we do, that is tilt table test. What should be the medication? Generally metoprolol, atenolol or paroxetine is the most obvious drugs that we give. Then comes orthostatic syncope. Under orthostatic syncope, if you see a person who is lying or sitting and suddenly gets up from the dental chair or from the medical chair, then you see that person faints. So, or feels dizzy, any of those situations. One thing that comes to our mind is orthostatic syncope. But just for confirmation, the prognosis that we do is we lie the patient down for 5 minutes, we take the BP, then we ask the patient to stand and let that person stand for 3 minutes. Otherwise, if we'll take the BP immediately after standing, it will fluctuate. So we let that person stand for 3 minutes and then again take the BP. If there's a fall of 30 mmHg, then most probably it's orthostatic. The diagnosis that we do is we give IV fluid. The IV fluid, if it treats the syncopal situation, then it's due to volume depletion, and if it doesn't, then it might be a disorder in the autonomic nervous system. So the possible drugs that we give, first we increase the fluid intake because generally it's due to volume depletion. Then fludrocortisone, pseudoephedrine, midodrine, these are the vasoconstricting agents so that the peripheral pooling of the blood is prevented. And then the arrhythmia. So arrhythmia is basically, it's very sudden without any prodrome. If suddenly someone falls down, it might be arrhythmia. Like before vasovagal and orthostatic, the most obvious is arrhythmia. And the drugs, there's one hell of an antiarrhythmic drug, so we won't mention that. But the diagnosis is generally you see the ECG, and ECG might come normal when you go and get it checked. So for a detailed diagnosis, we use a Holter monitor. It's like a machine which is attached to the body for 24 hours, and that checks the heartbeat and the heart rate on a very regular interval, and that is Holter monitor, and by that generally we diagnose for arrhythmia. So this was it. This was all I could gather for syncope, and I don't know how much this will be helpful, but I hope it is. And I will attach my notes in the link below, and that might help as well. I hope. Well, thank you.